Hey, what's going on guys, TurtyWurty here, and welcome back to another Minecraft modding tutorial for version 1.16. In this tutorial I'm going to be covering how we can go ahead and create an ore. So, I have already gone ahead and created the ore block in my block init. I've already done the JSONs, the texture, the lang, so that is already here, and I'm just using the iron ore properties. If you want your block to, however, work differently so that it has experience drop, I believe there is a class for this that vanilla has called ore block, and you can just go ahead and you can extend this class and just override this get experience method, I believe. Or you can just see where this is called, so that's called in get exp drop. You can just override this if you don't want to extend this class specifically, but that's pretty simple. I'm just going to use a normal block just with iron ore properties. Once you've created your block, you'll see I've created a new class in the world package, and that is called ore generation. And in here we're just basically going to have the methods we need. So let's create a public static void, and I'm going to call this method generate ores. Okay, this method is going to take in a final biome loading event, and I'm just going to call that event. Now in here is where you do everything, so it's pretty simple actually. So if we want, for example, our ores to be biome specific, and this is only if we want it to be biome specific, we can have an if statement in here, and we can check, for example, let's say we wanted it to only be in the overworld. So if we could say if event.getCategory, there should be there's a few things you can get here. So you can get these spawns, you can get the scale of the biome, the name of the biome, the actual generation settings, the biome ambient settings, so you can base it off of a lot of different things. Generally people use category, however, like climate is quite good if you want it to be climate specific, and you can check, for example, if it equals category dot, and I believe that will be a biome dot category. We don't want any of the other categories here, so let's just make sure we import that. So as you can see, there's loads of different categories. So if you want it to only be in the overworld, you don't want it to be in the end or nether, you can check that it's not in the nether and it's not in the end, and that should give you all the overworld ones. I'm actually going to only let this biome spawn in the, actually no, I will do that. So I will say if it doesn't equal the nether, so if it does not equal the nether and or event.getCategory dot equals biome dot category dot the end, so if it does not equal the nether or the end biome category, then we can do our generation. If you want it to be able to spawn in any biome, you just remove that and you do everything else afterwards, but I want it to only spawn in the overworld. And we can say event.getGeneration, so the biome generation settings builder, and all you need to do, it's very simple, you just call with feature right here. And we want this one, the one with decoration and the configured feature. We don't need to worry about the other one. If it's our own feature, then we use this second one, but we only want this one. And that will be generation stage dot decoration, and for ores it would be underground ores right here. And then this will be the actual configured feature. So that is feature.ore. Quite simple. But you need to configure that feature because it wants a configured feature, not just a feature. So we call .with configuration, and that takes in a new ore feature. Let's see if it loads. Ore feature config. So in here we take in the filler block type. So I'm actually just going to put in filler type. Okay, and then I'm going to put in the state. I'm just putting these as placeholders so that I can not worry about this too much. And then it is the vein size, and I will actually fill these out in a minute. But we do then need to add the placement as well, so that is I believe right here. So after the with configuration we can do with placement, and for that it is just placement dot range dot configure a new top solid range config. Okay, this takes in the minimum height, and then for the top offset we generally put 0, and this is basically the offset from the top of the world, and it just makes calculations really weird if we don't put 0, so we almost always put 0. And then it's just the max height, so max height. And we can come out, I believe, here. So this is on the configured feature. We call dot square, and then there's a little function we can use. I don't actually remember which one it is, but it's one of these three. It is one with an integer. It's probably this one. This is just a guess though, and that will basically be the count of it. So we can just do it's like the count per chunk. So the I don't really know what you would call it. The amount, I suppose. I think it's that one, but it might be the other one. We'll have to find out. Sadly, that's not mapped. In the future, it might be mapped, in which case, that's great. So yeah, we can make this take in the different things. So there's a few ways we can do this. We can pass in the values directly and do this whole entire thing every single time, or we can call a method that does it for us, in which case we actually want to just take that out of there, and we can call, for example, generate ore. Okay, and if we just create that method, so private void generate ore. Okay, and just see what errors. So the generation errors. So for that we can use, I believe it's a biome generation settings. is it the builder? No, it shouldn't be the builder. And we can just call that settings. That will allow us to then use settings right here, settings.widthFeature, and then the filler type. So what was that? Let's see. That is a rule test. So we can take in a rule test and call that filler type. Then we can take in the state, so that's simply just a block state. Then we can take in the vein size, which is an integer, my bad. And then we take in the min height. I keep forgetting to declare the variable type. And then the max height, and then the int count. Amount, not count. Okay, so it's actually the biome generation settings builder in that case. There we go. And then we can just simply call this method as many times as we want for the different ores. So it first wants the generation settings builder, and that's just event.getGeneration. Then it wants a rule test. Now for this we can either create our own or we can use the vanilla one, which is what I'm going to use. So the vanilla ones are they're inside all feature config, and then they're inside the filler block type class. And in here there is 3 different rule tests. So there is just Netherrack, and then there's base stone nether. So base stone nether will be like Netherrack, basalt. You can actually probably check it. Yeah, so it just matches the base stone nether block tags, and you can create your own of these. It's not that hard to make, as you can see what it does right here. It just takes in the tag if it's a tag match, and if it's a block match, so just one specific block, then it's a block match rule test. It's not that complicated really. But the one I want to use is base stone overworld. So that should be like granite, diorite, andesite and stone. So that's the one I'm going to use anyways. And then it's the block state. So the ore I'm going to be obviously generating is the one from my block init. So example ore.get default state. Then we have the vein size. So for the vein size, I want this to be a vein size of 5. So that's the maximum vein size, of course. Sadly, I don't believe there is a way to say what the minimum is, because vanilla doesn't have that. Also, you could create your own ore feature if you wanted to do something like that. But that's a little more complicated and not something I'm probably going to be covering here. Then we have the minimum height. So this is the lowest that the ore can generate. For this, I'm going to just say, I'm going to say 15. So it has to generate above diamond, and we will say the maximum. We could say the maximum is 30. And then it is the amount. That's the last thing, right? So the basically amount you will find per chunk. This is probably the maximum per chunk, I assume. So you could probably instead rename this to max per chunk, or just per chunk maybe. You can name it whatever you want, of course. I'm going to set that to 10. Yeah. So we do have an error here. What's that? Of course, I'm a noob. We need to make this static. Now, there should be a way to view the vanilla ones. Let's see if I can remember what that class is called, however. I haven't messed around with ores and biomes too much in 1.16. Could be... No, I'm not entirely sure, but you can view the vanilla ones. One thing we could do, I suppose, to check what vanilla does, if we go into the blocks class and just find, here we go, gold ore, and if we control H, we can do a Java search for the references, and that'll just tell us where it's used, which should basically be in... Okay, so it's probably here. It's in a states class. Ah, yes, here it is. So if we look here, here are all the vanilla ones. It is in features and then states. So, for example, iron is... Okay, so they use 20 for the count. You can actually do the range like this. I did forget about that, actually. Instead of having it be that range function, if you want. And that says it is 9. So that's the max size that an iron vein can be. So obviously all the vanilla ones are right here. There's tons of them. Actually, I don't know why there's quite so many. Oh, I suppose like blackstone and dirt and stuff are technically ores. It's a really weird thing to think about them like that. But that's pretty much it. All we need to do now is just go into our main class, and we just need to call that. So we can do, not in there, in our constructor, we can call Minecraft Forge .event bus .add listener, and this takes in the event. Well, we need to specify the event priority since we want ores to happen. We want ores to generate. So we can say it is event priority .high. We don't really need it to be highest. With high, it should run no matter what. It's possible it won't because it's not highest, but it should. 99.9% of the time. And we don't want to overwrite something else which is more important by saying it's highest. And then we just call the function basically. So ore generation colon, and what did we call it? We called it generate ores, and that is it. So now we can just go ahead and run the game. So here we go, we are back in the game. I'm in a new world, of course, because we have to be in a new world. Hopefully, if I go down, we should be able to find my block. My ore, should I say. It should be obvious when we find it. What level am I at right now? 17, let's go a little bit high. There it is. There it is. So, if I just come out of spectator. So this is actually a 1 vein? Ooh, that's unlucky, eh? So yeah, that's pretty much it for ores. I hope you guys did enjoy this tutorial. If you did, please do be sure to smash your face into that like button and subscribe. If you really enjoyed, please do be sure to share it and hit that bell if you want to be notified when I next upload. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.